This man is right. Self-sufficiency, and that's one of the first and most important lessons I've learned, is essential. Whatever natural skill set you have, however you choose to apply it, and we're going to go into that, think of ways that you can be as self-sufficient as possible. I say this because we operate in an environment where you are required to do a lot for yourself, almost by yourself. The infrastructure that exists in other countries doesn't necessarily exist here. Women especially are disadvantaged in a certain way by the way that we're raised with this self-reliance mentality. Don't worry, you're a woman, you don't have to do it. Somebody else will do it for you. People who are born into a lot of money also end up in that same category where it's like, oh, don't worry, somebody will do it for you. But if there's one thing I know in this life is that this too shall pass. Whether it is a beautiful, amazing, great thing, whether it is a horrible thing, this too shall pass. So the more you are equipping yourself to learn what to do, just, okay, I want to set up a business. Don't immediately be like, okay, let me go and find somebody to pay to be accountant, find somebody to pay to be this. No. You do the work. Sit down, read. Yes, it will be harder. It will take longer. It will be more difficult. But you need to learn so that as you grow, as your finances grow, as your understanding grows, you then know who the best accountant is to hire. You then know, oh, this person that's telling me I need to pay 100,000 naira to build this website. No, I don't. I can go to a website called Squarespace, log in, register my own domain name, and handle this website all myself, and it'll look like a professional did it. If you don't insist from now on learning how to do things yourself, no matter how difficult it may be, no matter how imperfect your execution of that task may be, you are always going to be in trouble. So self-sufficiency. So I studied the law, and I loved it completely. I thought, do you know what? Because my first interest in it, before even university, was watching or being alive during the time when Ken Saro-Wiwa and the Ogoni tribesmen were executed. I remember that feeling. I remember the site, Surulere was quiet that time. Going to school was hectic because I was in school in VI. I lived in Surulere. Riots all the time. You constantly have to have green leaves at the front of your car. So anybody who's telling you that right now is the worst time to be alive in Nigeria is a lie. Let's think. Let's think about some of the things we've really, truly had to experience and look at the opportunities we have now to get up, be on the internet. I want to learn this. You can learn everything online for virtually free. Get it out of your minds that it is hard to be alive now. It's a lie. If you believe that lie, you are always going to find yourself in a place of lack. Because your thinking is already from a base of lack. You're already thinking is tough. It's already hard. It's difficult. How do you expect to succeed? You can't. Get that out of your mind. So going back now, as I've lost my train of thought slightly. I studied the law, became self-sufficient, absolutely loved it because it was helping me to impact people's lives. The same way I saw and I asked my father when the Ogoni tribesmen were being executed, what happens? Why is this happening? He said it's not a good thing. Okay, but isn't it the government killing them? Yes. Okay, who stops the government when the government is not doing a good thing? Goes, well, it should be lawyers and it should be people of the country. So I thought, okay, that's a good way to affect the way that my society functions. If I study law, I can be in a place where when horrible things are happening, I can help. Or when people need good things to happen, I can help. Now, I didn't go into human rights law. I did think about studying it as a PhD, but let me tell you, sir, I salute this PhD life because I did masters. After masters, I said, no, it's not by force. I'm not trying to be a teacher. I don't need it. You have to think about what is good for you and what is good for others. Some people, great, no problem, and I believe in education. I've got an LLM, I have an LLB, I qualified as a solicitor in the UK, and I'm called to the bar in Nigeria. So education, I'm not afraid of it. Learning is a lifelong process, and I believe in that. You must know that but every situation in your life is an opportunity to learn, most especially the difficult ones. The hardest times in your life are the biggest opportunities for you to grow and to level up. And if you don't seize that opportunity, that situation is going to repeat itself again and again and again. Life is like, it's like God's learning experiment for us. Like he's given us these opportunities, he's given us talents. How bold are you going to be to move in the direction of your dream? To trust that whatever is happening, you know the right things to do. To also have a discerning spirit, to listen. Because some things where there are times when you're very confident in yourself. I know, no, like listening to my dad at that time. I remember thinking, well, I don't want to just do what you're doing because it's what you're doing. But at the same time, should I turn away advice just because it may end me up in a position where other people will say that, oh, she's just like her daddy? Who cares what other people are saying? In this society, in this country, it's very easy to do things based on what other people will tell you, what other people will say. Sit down and assess what you need to know and be aware that every difficulty is a learning opportunity. Fast forward, after having studied, I qualified, passed, moved back to Nigeria. I went into law school. That was a different life experience. I tried to quit 3 days into law school. 3 days into Nigeria, I said, these people, they're not serious. Do you know why? Frustration. At the time I'd finished doing all this studying overseas, you are asked to apply online. You submit your application, everything. You get to Buari, outside Abuja, one small place they just carved out somewhere. Time to, oh, where's your documents? I've submitted it online. My friend, will you go and print everything out? Oh, excuse me, sir. I didn't understand. I thought, no problem. One of the requirements, interestingly enough, is that you have an X-ray scan of your lungs. I'd never seen such a requirement anywhere ever before, so that took me by surprise. But it's to check for some infectious diseases like tuberculosis, to see if you have that. Nobody explains this to you. It's just a random requirement you see. And you think to yourself, no, this can't be real. I don't have to. Who does that? I don't have to submit this. But you do. Now, as a woman, all the women in the room know this, that wherever you are, whatever it is you're doing, your safety and security is in the back of your mind. Any situation you enter. So you're going somewhere you've never been before, a town you've never been before, and people are telling you to enter to one small shed that they are telling you is doctor's office, to remove your clothes and have your chest scanned. How many women in here would just think, forget it, there's no need to be in here, put your hands up? Because that's the reality of what we deal with. Like, what are you? Who are you? What do you mean? Am I coughing? Anyways, we soldier through. The women and the other women who are in the same situation as I'm in, we're being treated as though we are year one university students. And don't forget, most people who are doing law school are people's parents, their grandparents. I've already qualified how many different qualifications to go back to being treated like I'm in secondary school. I say, oh, this Nigeria. Is it by force to be qualified here? No problem. I soldiered on, did that. And I'm telling you this story because if you think that any path is smooth, it's easy to see this very cool, snazzy presentation they did and be like, you're right, my sister, you're right, you don't have problems. In this life, there are ebbs and flows. It's up and down. And you must be okay with that. If you are not okay with that, you are going to struggle. You will never achieve anything if you are not prepared to deal with the tough times as much as you are prepared to deal with the great times. I know that a lot of people sometimes go to even places like church to just hear pastors tell them everything's going to be great. Well, you are excellent. Listen, you're going to experience loss. You're going to experience illnesses. You're going to experience difficulties. Our life is short. We're here today, gone tomorrow. Ash Wednesday just happened. From dust we came, to dust we shall return. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say I go to church every Sunday. I don't. I keep it 100. Apologies to anybody in the room. You take it personal. But I just want to share with you that there are truths in all of this, and it's important for you to know it. Not just know it intellectually, but to know it. That when there's this impossible situation in front of you, this dark time, this too shall pass. And that what you choose to do with your time here is so important, and that you deserve to be happy in the time that you are here. You are given skills that you can monetize. That's the first thing. So accept that whatever skill or talent you have, you can monetize it. The question is, are you paying attention to the right skill or talent? Are you willing to do the work? Or are you sitting down and saying, somebody has not given me? You have not given me. You are supposed to be my mentor. You didn't answer the 82 missed calls. Do you think I'm sitting down waiting for you to call me? Can't call me 82 times, bro. Things are happening. The same way you have life issues, somebody else has life issues. If you're going to call a mentor, you're going to address somebody, what you need to do is say, oh, sir, madam, I've gone this far. I'm struggling with this. Can you help me with this? I've tried this and this in my career. I've studied this and this. People are saying this, so I don't know where to move. Can you help me with this? When you approach people with specific questions and specific tasks and specific problems, it is so much easier for them to say, oh, yes, I know somebody that may be able to help you. Let me do an email and introduce you. When you hear email, don't switch off. Don't hear email and think this person wants to write. Yes, do you know why people want you to write? Because if you cannot take down a few minutes to compose your thoughts and explain what it is you want and why you are deserving of this help, my friend, you are not ready for that help. Because the mentor will put you in touch with somebody who's ready to take you forward to the next step, and you ghost. You disappear. You don't follow through. You just say, just any walk. Don't tell people any walk. It means you are not confident, A, either in either the talent or skill that you already have, or B, which is even more dangerous to me, in the dreams that you have, in the passions that you have, in the desires that you have, right? I made it through law school 3 days after wanting to drop out. Because I thought to myself, do you know what? Don't give up prematurely. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's tough. But what are your goals for yourself? At the time, for me, I said, well, let me qualify in the UK where I'd been studying. Let me qualify in my home country of Nigeria so that there's no story of you cannot move, where are you going to find a job? Because self-sufficiency. I didn't want to hear PIM. That time my parents were asking me a lot of unnecessary questions. I felt, when are you moving back fully? Excuse me, sir, who said I've been moving up and down? Let me qualify to move up and down. They didn't want to pay for me to study in the UK, to qualify in the UK. Because it's like, wow, you don't need that to be a great lawyer. True. And it was 100% correct. But it was about self-sufficiency for me. Knowing that wherever the tide moves, I can create opportunity for myself. If you're already in one place where you have the opportunity to do it, seize that opportunity, because it knocks usually once and it will move on. However, after having practiced for a bit in Nigeria, I finished law school, transferred from Abuja to Lagos, worked at my father's firm when I finished, because I thought, let me be around, let me see how that's going to go. And it was one of the hardest experiences I've dealt with. And this is bearing in mind that while in school and university, I also worked as a street fundraiser. These are these people in London that stand around with a clipboard and they ask, oh, do you have a minute for charity? You get people to put their bank details and information on a sheet of paper to a complete stranger to pay for charity. So you're not buying shoe and clothes that people can see. You are selling people hopes and dreams, long term, because it's their bank account that's tied to it. So as you can imagine, that's a very difficult job to do. Who wants to give a stranger their bank details in the height of credit card fraud? Who are you, this small black girl? But I took that opportunity to work because of two things. One, I just thought some people sign up clearly. There are people that are signing. So what are the people holding this charity? What are they telling people to convince complete strangers to give? Usually, if there's somebody in front of you, please, Uncle Auntie, give me, it's hard to ignore that. You can see who it is you are helping. And if you are in a helping mood, that day, you will give directly. It's a lot harder to give when you are tying it permanently to your account for people that you cannot see and a cause that you don't really understand. What I learned from that job was resilience, because I was getting no's every day, thousands of no's. Because you're literally approaching, it's a numbers game. The more people you approach, the more your chances of success. That's what I learned. Street fundraising, something that has absolutely nothing to do, seemingly, with law, something that has absolutely nothing to do, seemingly, with media. Yet this skill set has enabled me to be where I am today doing the work that I'm doing, because it built a tougher skin. When people would tell me no, yes, it hurts. Till today, somebody tells you no, it's a pain. You feel it. But say, okay, there's somebody out there that has a yes for me. I just haven't found them. That was street fundraiser mentality. The other thing I learned was looking at the person in front of you. Because things are so tough in Nigeria, because we are in a position where, I'm dealing with my own stress, so I don't need your own stress. Have you noticed how little we look each other in the eye? Most importantly, when the person that is around you, whether it's a house help cleaner, whether it's your security man, those people you look the least in the eye. And do you know why? Because as far as you're concerned, they had the least to do with your life. They have no real way to help you. So you stop connecting with them as human beings. I say this because it's behavior I notice in myself as well. And you've got to be very conscious to catch yourself in that moment to see that this is what you are doing. When you ignore the average person around you, when you ignore the fellow human being around you, you lose touch with how to connect with that person. You lose touch with how to solve problems quickly. Street fundraising taught me that if somebody is approaching me, and I see you, sir, if you're walking down, the first thing I say is, I love your trousers, they're so lovely. And what will you do most likely? You smile. That's connection instantly. By the fact that when you go and search, if you're going to ask Google what some of the top search terms are, some of the two things that will come up will be news, but it will also be comedy. People like to laugh, most especially in Nigeria, we love it. When you reach, how many of you dread police checkpoints? Yeah, me too, you're not alone. But you have to retrain your minds. So instead of getting there and boning, these officer begs, people just want to collect money. Remember that that person is a person too. And that for him to be on that road at that time, he must be scared. He too doesn't know who he's going to come across. That he knows that he's going to have to try and hit you up for money. That's a tough thing for any man to do, for any person to do. To say, how much money is he collecting in his hand? You've got to remember that there are circumstances that have put him there. I'm not saying condone it, I'm not saying encourage it, but remember that. So when you wind down, okay, officer, how far now? How are you doing? Well done, no. See as your skinny they shine. Smile, here to here, instant. How many people have done that before? Where you've had a situation where a police officer, and for some reason you just like to joke with the guy instead of being angry. How many people? And I understand, and do you know why most, especially of the young men in this room, are not going to do that? Because as far as you're concerned, police is hostile towards you. Fact. Abby? So already, everyone is gearing up that, see, I don't know, am I going to need to call? Is my phone ready to do live streaming in case they want to carry me and put me inside? Listen, we know. Even me, I think about it. I'm like, okay, live stream. That's another tip for you, just for safety reasons. Never record onto your phone camera. If you are in a dangerous situation and you are unsure of your safety, hit the live stream button. Live stream means that whatever happens, this situation and altercation has gone out to, even if it's 20 followers you have, at least 20 people at some point in the next 24 hours. This guy live stream just ended. So they call Chinedu, where is, your battery could have died, it doesn't really matter, but that's a safety tip in general. But the street fundraising, all that did for me is it taught me resilience. It taught me that a lot of people will say no, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get your yeses. I did so well while doing that. The Dialogue Direct UK, which is one of the largest fundraising organizations in the United Kingdom, tried to get me to drop out of university to come and work for them full time as a street fundraiser. So you start off at a base level, you have teams, small teams you work with, then they promote you to being like a little manager and runner of people. But what served me the most was that ability to look at somebody and recognize their humanity. Do you have kids? Really, how old are they? Oh, you have a niece and nephew? Oh, that's amazing. Now imagine if your niece and nephew had to wake up in the middle of the night because they had gunshots and to start running for their lives. They've been running for so long, they get to a place that they think is safety, and even in that compound, they start hearing all these horrible things happening to other people. Wouldn't you want somebody to help them out? Well, that's what the Red Cross is doing. Connection. So in whatever it is you're doing, regardless of what you've studied, recognize that every situation that you're presented with in life is a learning opportunity. It's not always about money. It's not always about collecting cash. Be sure and be aware that you are worth cash, but you have to weigh it against what it is you want to learn. I say this because after law school, working for a bit, and I realized that, well, as much as I loved the law and I loved the little practice of it that I was doing, it was not having the sort of impact that my 8-year-old self that remembered Ken Saro-Wiwa and co. wanted it to have. And I saw how media was growing dramatically around the world. And I'd already started doing things that were affecting the way people would perceive me and perceive any message I was putting across. I noticed in my street fundraising, the way I dressed, the more Afrocentric I looked, the more care of my skin and my hair I took, but projecting as a black Nigerian woman that I am, that this is what I am, the more drawn people were to me. There's an authenticity that they see in it that they don't get. And also a lack of representation, at least at that time, about 12 years ago in the media. You weren't seeing as many people with natural hair. You weren't seeing as many people proud of like really dark skin. So it was a fascinating thing. People were watching. And from that, I was like, well, let me start doing my own hair and skin products because I was doing a lot of research. My brother used to ask me, are they paying you for this thing? I'm selling me loan, just move to the side. All of this I was studying while I was doing law, while I was qualifying. Just personal curiosity, personal interest, personal passion. Because I've always believed that whatever it is you know, whatever it is you are passionate about, God has put that thing in you for a reason, so you should follow it. Pay attention to it. I did the studying and found that, well, all the products we were buying from the UK, the US, Body Shop, all these basic skincare that's healthy, it's good, but it's not that fancy. I was like, well, they're diluting the shea butter that grows here in Ogun State, in Niger State, all that Middle Belt area, and selling it back to me at an inflated cost. Why would I do that? I can't. He's just here now. I'll call Mama Bissy, and that's what I did. I learned how to make my own coconut oil, literally getting coconuts from Badagry, grating them down, getting the milk, sieving it out. I started making my own skin products. I've been using my own skin products for the past 10 years, actually. The past 10 years I've been making and selling to a small quantity these things. But that's, again, the reason I had to do that is because when I told my father I was leaving his law firm, all hell broke loose. How do you tell your father that this thing that he blood, sweat, and tears, my father's not a fancy man at all. The time my brothers and I were going to school, he was not changing clothes. He was not buying new anything. Everything went into our education. And perhaps it is from watching him that I learned the value of hard work. That it's not about flossing. It's not about... Because I remember one day I sat and I said, Dad, if you do not have these like 4 or 5 children, you'd be balling, oh. He laughed. Say, if I didn't have you children, I would never have worked as hard as I did. Ever. Your circumstances sometimes will dictate how hard you're going to work. They will. So if you're always in a place of comfort, you will not grow. If you're always in a place where, oh, but this is okay, I don't want to stress myself, I go there, I pay that thing long, I know fees. No problem. Guess what? In 2 years, you're going to cycle back to that same spot, looking at the same place and wondering why your life has not progressed. Because you were unwilling to take that risk or that opportunity. When God wants you to grow, He gives you challenges. It's not soft. It's tough. It's something you're going to look at and you say, if I had known how hard this was going to be, I would never have done it. True. So, I went to a Google conference once and they said, if you get to 70%, I'm like, execute. Come back and do a 2.0 later. Once you get yourself to that 70%, you're not 100% sure, it's okay, you don't need to be, just jump. What if I hurt myself? It's okay, there's, first aid kit is in the corner. You sort it out. Do it now. You're never going to be any younger than you are now. You're never going to be any less unencumbered than you are now. So if you don't wake up and say, do you know what, yeah, I'm not ready. Yes, some people may laugh. Yes, I'm not really sure. If you don't just jump, you're always going to be that person getting bitter. When you see other people with what you think are less skills than you, excelling and being celebrated. And this country, we just celebrate mediocre nonsense. I tell you what Nigeria does celebrate. It celebrates the bold. And I'm having to learn that lesson a very hard way. It's very easy to look at people and say, that person hasn't done this. What do they know? What have they achieved? Stop talking about other people. Stop talking about them. Who cares? Who are they? What is that? Focus on you. If you've not been bold enough to take this idea you've been sitting on, that you've been mulling over for 2 years, if you're not bold enough to do that, then just stop complaining. Accept that maybe where you are is what you're comfortable with, and that's okay too. But you do have to look at your life and ask yourself every day, what do I want? It changes. That's okay too. It's okay too. Stop holding yourself to this hard and fast. Well, I studied this, so I must do this. My parents had this, and they said, and this person... It's not one size fits all. That's the scam of adulthood. Please, all my guns in the building, am I lying? Is it a one size fits all? That's the biggest scam. That you look, because somebody has succeeded this way means that you'll do it that way is not true. Because this other person have mommy and daddy and everything looks happy in there, you don't know what's happening in their families. You don't know. Nobody's life is perfect. You may look at it and say, but you have these advantages. The outfit I'm wearing is free, bro. Somebody gifted me this outfit free. My G's free. Free. And I share this with you because it's very easy to stand and pretend that, oh, this affluence. No. If you go and look through my social media pages, my Instagrams, my whatnot, if I'm not being paid directly for work, I don't rock up with new clothes. I don't. But with the way that our media is promoted, you would think that everybody's buying everything. Abby? That everybody owns everything, right? They don't. A lot of people are owing money because they're also trying to live up to that lifestyle, to that perception. And you have to know that one of the pitfalls you're going to experience is that it's your ego. It's your what will they say, how will it look, what will I tell them if I don't? Don't let your ego sucker punch you. It'll cost you money. It really will. If you have a job now and you're working now, keep working and build your side passion. I'm sure so many people have told you this thing, but people don't listen because you'll still tell yourself, oh, but it's distracting me from this. Oh, I can't. Have you got to a place where you've tabulated how much is coming in from your side passion and you can see that you can effectively live off of it? For those of you who have a side hobby, how many of you write official invoices before you carry out work? Show of hands. Start doing that now. There's an app called Wave Apps. Wave invoicing apps, write that down. Wave will help you create very simple invoices and very simple receipts and help you keep track of what you're making. Because if you're planning on doing what it is that you love for a living and you're planning on turning that passion into profit, then you need to start treating yourself like a business. Before, during, or after you execute work, create a system for yourself and make sure you send out an invoice. If you do not send out an invoice, people are going to owe you money and you will not remember. It happens all the time, especially in a society like this that takes side hustles or creative endeavors as though they're not that serious yet. So people will play you around. They'll say, oh, I don't know. No problem. As long as someone has committed to paying you money, get it in writing. Stop all this phone business deal. Phone. Can you track what you have said on the phone? What you have said is for the air, it's for the dust. And even for you, for your own accountability, you need to know what you are offering and what you have delivered, whatever that skill or service may be. It doesn't matter. I'm making a chair for you. No problem. Let me just send you a text message. Let me send you an email. This is the chair. These are specifications for what you want. Here's the invoice. Bam, bam, bam. You have created a system. And that way you can begin cataloging how much is actually coming in from that. Most of you already know how to make money. So this is really just a talk about getting you to be bold and to be brave to do that. You do. This is a talk to say, okay, assess your lives now and think about what it is you're good at and what it is that's putting food on the table for you and what your dream job is. Think about those three things, okay? For some of you, they may all be the same thing. For some people, they're all different things. That's what you're good at, what is currently putting food on the table, and what it is that you want to do. Does somebody want to share what those things are for them? Guy in the back? You just yell it out, it's fine, I'll repeat. You can just shout it out and I'll repeat. Mm-hmm. You're good at singing and music production. Okay. What's putting food on the table? Music production. What type of music production? Sorry? Okay, so songs, so tracks. So artists are coming to you and they're paying to... And soundtracks. Sound design, dope. Okay, and then what's your dream thing?
Yeah, my dream things... Thank you very much. My dream is also to go into media and advertising, basically to be an influencer, like to create trends, and not just like I do voiceovers too from time to time, so I have like a skill set.
But if I'm going to stop you there, because what you're doing now is you're selling like your different skill sets. I don't want that. I want you to picture your time is about to round up on this earth.
Yeah.
You want to be the most peaceful, relaxed, contented version of yourself. Picture where your house will be, what it will look like, what you will be doing for a living.
I think that would be like doing music basically, to change people's minds, like, and values.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Change people's minds and values through music.
Yeah.
Do you feel like with what you're doing now, with what's putting food on the table, that's doing that in any way?
Um, I need like greater impact. I need like greater exposure, visibility. I feel like it's a light. I know that I have a lot to offer, but I feel like there's people don't know that yet, man.
Do the people in your compound know it?
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Yeah.
The people in your neighborhood, your street?
Yeah, they do.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Are you
But
sure?
I feel this.
So if I stroll out onto your street and I'd be like, what's your name?
In wisdom, but they know me as APV.
Okay. I'd be like, APV.
Yeah.
APV, what's APV doing in this area? Anybody on the street can tell me.
He knows me.
No. I didn't point to your friends. You are not hearing me. These are lesson, bro.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
I understand. Thank you very much, though. I get that. I get that. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes. And it's a bold thing to share. Because also sitting in silence doesn't help you. If you actually want to know something, you sit there and you're quiet, the opportunity has passed you by, it's a bit late. But situations like that, for example, you're already doing it. Something I also say is, see how I stopped you and said, think clearly about where your most content place in life is, what you'll be doing. That's your life goal. That could change, but that is your goal. Your goal doesn't need to, not even doesn't need to be. Be wary of making your goal something on a piece of paper. Right? Don't create just something like words like, oh, I should have a master's, I must look like this, I should have spoken to president. No. What does it feel like? There are things that you do that bring you alive. That when you're working on it, no matter how tired you are, you'll be like, let me just finish. Let me take a few extra minutes to make sure this looks good. And that's what music production is to you. I'm guessing. Every time a job comes your way, what you now have to start doing is weighing up vis-a-vis what these people can pay you versus how it's impacting. Okay? Sometimes they may be able to pay you diddly squat, but the job that comes your way, they may say, listen, I went to go talk to the United Nations. It's a small humanitarian thing. I want to create a soundtrack for this, but I need to bring all this equipment to bear. I need to bring you to bear. This thing is going to take us 1 month to work on it. As a creative person, 1 month of my time is a lot. You would think about it like, yo, okay, how often every day 1 month? Especially if you've done it for a while. Especially if you've done it to the extent where people begin to take advantage of you. They tell you, oh, hey, just help me with this thing. Okay, no problem, because I love what I do. And it's very easy if you're creative. I love what I do. Oh, I'll come. Next thing, this thing that was meant to be 5 minutes is 3 days later. And you're asking yourself, how did I get caught up in this nonsense? And what that means is sometimes when you have an opportunity like that, that's very tough. It's a tough thing where they don't have money, but you could really make a big impact. You've got to really think about it. The money, what do you spend it on? You buy small diesel, drink small water, go out one time with your friends, ghost, because how much is that guy going to pay you anyways? But this United Nations, even if you're going to send an invoice with 0 naira, so you put original fee, you put whatever your fee is, and I suggest to everybody you start standardizing your fees. Figure out what the cost is. This is what the cost is. So you don't be looking at people when people are asking you how much your money is. Who do you say is doing the job? What do you say the company? Which company is that? I'll call you back. Do your best to standardize it so that it is clear to anyone that is working with you professionally. Even if they can't afford that fee. Even if they tell you there's no money for this, send them the invoice that says voice studio production. Yeah, big boy, 200K. Discretionary discount, 100%. Send. Who can figure out why I'm saying make sure you send still an invoice even if you're collecting no money? Sorry? So that you can track things that are going out. And beyond that, so that when that person comes back in the future, they will not say, but you did it for this amount now. Did it for free now. What's the problem? No. I gave you a discretionary discount. 100% yes. But from that time till now, see what my fee is. Also, in case they want to refer you to somebody else, they will refer you with that information there. They may not need it at that time, but it is helpful for you. And I say this because, again, it's been personal experience, hard, painful experience, where I've done things as a personal favor. No, but these are my guys now. Oh, they always give me work. Oh, my guy. My guy is a business, and corporations remember only themselves. So think long term. Weigh it up. Look at what the advantage is and how it's going to move you slightly closer in the direction you truly want to go versus economic gain. Because at the end of the day, you also want to be self-sufficient. At the end of the day, you do want to make money. So yes, the experience is important. Look at what's going on around you, but weigh it up. Especially for your friends, though. I'm going to round up so I can get questions and also get those pieces of paper people sent in. Like, for your friends, no problem. Your guy doesn't really have money. And when you collaborate like this, it means that you guys are most likely to grow to top levels together, which is very helpful. But even for your friends, document it. Because it is so easy for friendships to be abused. It is so easy for you to do my guy. Your guy may be a lot more demanding than you. He may actually be bolder than you are. So he'll ride you as hard as he can. Oh, no, but I need to do this. You need to get this done, get this. No, I know. But shit, we agreed now. We agree. So let's do it. No problem. But you see, when you put, even if it's 2,000 naira on it, pay me 2K for this thing, people begin to remember that this thing is not free. My skill, my talent, my value, it comes at a price, at a cost. For now, it's this. Later, it will be something else. So try and do that. I mean, there's a lot more that I could share, but I'd really rather hear if there are direct questions from you guys. And I hope this has been helpful to some extent. But that's my sharing for now.